Right now, as you're listening to this, someone you trust is stealing pieces of your reality. And the scariest part? You're helping them do it. Today, I'm going to show you 8 psychological weapons being used against you every single day. These aren't theories from dusty textbooks. These are mind games so advanced, so perfectly disguised as love and care that victims actually defend their abusers. By the time this episode ends, you'll realize that conversation you had yesterday, that relationship that just feels off, that friend who always leaves you questioning yourself. It was never about you being too sensitive. You were being hunted. Number 8, the reality thief. Forget everything you think you know about gaslighting. What I'm about to show you is gaslighting on steroids. Picture this. You remember a conversation clearly, word for word. But when you bring it up, they don't just deny it happened. They look at you with genuine concern and say, "Are you okay? You've been forgetting a lot of things lately." This is systematic reality erosion. They're not just changing the story, they're making you question your own sanity. Your brain is literally designed to doubt itself when faced with confident contradiction. It's called the confidence heuristic. We assume confident people are right, even when they're destroying us. The victim starts keeping notes, recording conversations, taking screenshots. But the manipulator, they're 3 steps ahead. Why are you documenting everything? That's not normal behavior. Maybe you should talk to someone. And slowly, quietly, you start to believe that maybe, just maybe, you really are losing your mind. Number 7, the dopamine dealer. Everyone knows about love bombing, but what they don't tell you is that it's literally hijacking your brain's reward system like a drug. When someone love bombs you, they're creating a neurochemical addiction. Every text, every compliment, every grand gesture floods your brain with dopamine. You become chemically dependent on their attention. But here's where it gets diabolical. They study your responses. What makes you light up? What makes you melt? They're building a psychological profile, learning exactly which buttons to push. Then comes the withdrawal, the hot and cold, the intermittent reinforcement schedule that casinos use to create gambling addicts. You're literally being conditioned like a lab rat. When they pull back, your brain doesn't just miss them, it craves them. You'll do anything to get that high back. You'll ignore red flags, compromise your values, abandon your friends. Because they're not just manipulating your heart, they're rewiring your brain.
Guilt tripping isn't just making you feel bad. It's emotional architecture. They're building a prison in your mind, and you're helping them lay the bricks. Watch this in action. You set a boundary. Something simple, reasonable. I can't work late tonight. I have plans. A normal person says, okay, no problem. A guilt architect says nothing. They just sigh. Look disappointed. Maybe they mention how they stayed late last week to help you. They don't ask you to change your mind. They don't have to, because they've trained you to read their emotions as your responsibility. Here's the psychological trick. They're using your empathy against you. Every time you feel their disappointment, your brain releases stress hormones. To make it stop, you give in. Over time, you start giving in before they even ask. You become a mind reader, constantly scanning their mood, adjusting your behavior to keep them happy. You're not living your life anymore. You're managing their emotions. And the most twisted part? They'll tell you how thoughtful and caring you are. They're rewarding you for your own imprisonment. Number 5, the triangle trap. Triangulation isn't just bringing a third person into your conflict. It's psychological warfare disguised as social proof. Here's how the trap works. Instead of talking to you directly, they talk about you to others. But they're not just venting, they're building a case. I'm worried about Sarah. She's been so sensitive lately. Even her sister thinks she's overreacting. Wait, when did her sister get involved? When did this become a group discussion about your mental state? They've created a narrative where they're the concerned friend and you're the problem everyone's discussing. Now, you're not just defending yourself to one person, you're defending yourself to an invisible jury that's already reached a verdict. The psychological impact is devastating. Humans are tribal creatures. When we feel outnumbered, we automatically assume we're wrong. It's called the bandwagon effect, and manipulators weaponize it. Suddenly, you're not having a conversation, you're on trial, and the evidence against you is your own emotional reactions. These 4 weapons, reality theft, dopamine dealing, guilt architecture, and the triangle trap, are just the beginning. They all have one thing in common. They turn your own mind, your empathy, your need for connection against you. The first step to disarming them is seeing them for what they are. So start looking, start listening to that gut feeling that tells you something is wrong. The war for your reality is happening in quiet conversations and loving gestures, and awareness is your first and best line of defense.
Let's continue with the next 4 manipulation techniques. Number 4, the savior complex predator. This one might just blow your mind because it looks so much like love. It feels like a rescue, but it is the most insidious form of control. The White Knight doesn't just help you with your problems, they create your problems first. They are an arsonist who works part-time as a firefighter. Watch the pattern. Your confidence gets chipped away through subtle comments, so-called constructive criticism, or manufactured drama. You start feeling unstable, insecure, completely lost. And then they swoop in. Don't worry, I've got you. You don't have to figure this out alone. But here's the sick twist. They need you broken to feel powerful. The moment you start healing, growing, becoming independent, they'll unconsciously sabotage your progress. They'll create new crises, remind you of past failures, or withdraw their support right when you need it most. Because a healthy, confident you doesn't need saving. And if you dare call them out, you'll hear this. After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me? They've turned your own healing into a debt you can never repay. Number 3, the silent weapon. The silent treatment is far more than just ignoring you. It's psychological torture disguised as self-control. When someone gives you the silent treatment, they're not taking space to cool down, they're activating your primal fear of abandonment. Your brain interprets that silence as social death, and it panics. Here's the neuroscience. Humans are wired for connection. When someone important goes silent, our brain releases the same stress chemicals as physical pain. You are literally being hurt. And the manipulator knows this. They are watching you squirm, waiting for you to break. And when you finally cave, when you apologize for something you didn't do, when you beg them to talk, they've won. They have trained you that their silence is more powerful than your voice. The most diabolical part, they'll act like they were just processing or needed space. They'll make you feel guilty for being hurt by their cruelty. So you start walking on eggshells, monitoring your every word, terrified to upset them because you can't handle another freeze out. Number 2, the hope dealer. This is also called breadcrumbing. People think it's just mixed signals, but it's actually emotional gambling, and you're the addict. They give you just enough attention to keep you hooked, but never enough to feel secure. A text here, a compliment there, just enough to make you think, maybe this time. But here's the psychological trap. Intermittent reinforcement is the most addictive reward schedule known to science. It's why people get hooked on slot machines, why abusive relationships are so incredibly hard to leave. Your brain becomes obsessed with the uncertainty. When will they text back? What does that emoji mean? Are they finally ready to commit? You're not in love, you're in withdrawal. Constantly checking your phone, analyzing every interaction, living in a state of anxious anticipation. And they know it. Every breadcrumb is calculated to keep you hungry, but never fed. The cruelest part? They aren't even thinking about you most of the time. While you're analyzing their every move, they're living their life, dropping occasional crumbs just to keep their options open. Number 1, the reality reversal machine. You may know it as DARVO. This is the ultimate mind game. The manipulation tactic so powerful, it can make you apologize for being abused. DARVO: deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender. You bring up something that hurt you, something real, something valid, and watch what happens. First, they deny it. That never happened. You're imagining things. Then they attack.
You're being dramatic. You always do this. You're just like your mother. And finally, the reversal. I can't believe you're attacking me like this. I'm the one being hurt here. How could you be so cruel? In 30 seconds, you've gone from victim to villain. You are now comforting the person who hurt you, apologizing for bringing up your own pain. This goes beyond manipulation. It's reality inversion. They have turned the entire universe upside down, and somehow you're the one who feels dizzy. The psychological impact is devastating because it attacks your fundamental sense of truth. If you can't trust your own experience of being hurt, what can you possibly trust? Here's the wake-up call. Here's what nobody tells you about manipulation. It works because you're a good person. Your empathy, your desire to understand, your willingness to give people the benefit of the doubt. These are not weaknesses. They are beautiful human qualities. But predators study kindness like a language. They learn to speak fluent, good person to get what they want. The solution isn't to become cold or suspicious. It's to trust yourself as much as you trust others. Your feelings are data. Your instincts are intelligence. Your boundaries are sacred. If someone makes you feel crazy, confused, or constantly wrong, that is not love. That is not friendship. That's control. And you deserve so much better.